So just to talk about caffeine and its mechanism of action, it has several, but for one, it's an antagonism effect on adenosine receptors. So what that means is throughout the day, you have adenosine receptors and they start binding to the receptor site. And the more that get bind, you start to become more sleepy. It naturally tells you to go to sleep. The opposite happens when you drink caffeine. It replaces those receptor sites because it has the same binding capabilities. And what happens is it makes you not sleepy, makes you stimulated, ready to go. So that's like a brief, in a nutshell, of how it affects the adenosine receptors.
Yeah, because caffeine, people don't know, is that it affects a lot of things in your body. The adenosine one, that's the major one that caffeine is known for, the whole adenosine system. And there's a few other mechanisms of action that you could say occur with caffeine consumption. The other one is inhibition of phosphodiesterase, also the release of calcium from intracellular stores, and antagonism of benzodiazepine receptors. So all those like mechanism of action is why caffeine has this effect on us. And adenosine is the major one. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the effects of caffeine, what these mechanisms of action actually cause the bodies to do. So first obvious one is increased alertness. And the thing with these is that caffeine revs up your sympathetic nervous system, which is like your fight and flight response. And then you have your PNS system, which is more of like your rest and digest. So the PNS gets slowed down and the SNS gets actually worked on. So that's where you get the increase in alertness from. That's probably the main reason why anybody drinks caffeine, is to be a little bit more alert, be a little bit more awake, more active, more focused. And that's the major appealer for caffeine. But what's crazy is that when we're doing this research, is that I was looking at an article, and they said that caffeine has a potential to decrease the risk of suicide. Speak to your doctor before you try to handle your depression with caffeine or other psychoactive substances. But I don't know, I didn't dive too deep into this study. I just wanted to tell y'all that's out there. But then when I'm thinking about it, is like, yeah, I want to expect it might help you with suicide ideation, or maybe even like depression that's possibly leads to suicide.
Increases serotonin and dopamine.
It does, yeah. But then think about it. When you drink that caffeine and you get on that little caffeine high that you're having, and then once it wears off, now your bottom is even lower now.
So I'm going to argue that one too, which is interesting, is you know how you have suicidal patients and they say if they have increased energy, that gives them the greater ability to complete the plan that they have. So what if you giving them the energy to when they're already in that phase, it only increases the chance of doing it because they have more of the susceptibility to do it. So maybe it should be depending on if that patient literally has a plan to commit or is just saying it, then maybe caffeine is more effective in that standpoint.
Yeah. I wouldn't see, my thing with like suicide and depression, before we have anybody try anything for it, I feel like they have to actually talk to somebody about this.
And that even goes with caffeine.
Yeah.
See how you're consuming it. Are you consuming it habitually for the wrong reasons? Are you neglecting your body? Because that's the best form of self-love.
Yeah.
What's going on there? And that's why it just all comes back to habits, just like the osteoporosis. If you're not consuming dark leafy green vegetables or whole foods, and you're consuming Dunkin' Donuts with your coffee, I don't know what that caffeine's doing once you're getting released from the bones, that calcium. So food for thought, everything in moderation.
Right. You should, before you hop on any kind of medication or psychoactives, you should be like with understanding about yourself first. If you want to watch or listen to our latest episode,
You can check us out on Apple, Spotify, or watch us on YouTube.